Not about Michael, just what I've been told here, but he has apparently lived in Coppell all or most of his life, CHS grad, and you live next door to Erma Ihnfildt, right? And you are frequently visiting her place and have a lot to tell us about Erma and the house and what's going on back there. And I was wondering, would you like to introduce your folks that are here? Or?
Sure, my mom's here, Catherine. You know her from the Advocate.
Yeah, we know.
What year did you finish Coppell High School?
I graduated in 91.
Okay.
Excuse me, Michael, before you go on, just in also introducing guests, we have Miss Mary Sinclair, who's taking a seat back here. She was a sister of Erma Ihnfildt, and her son, John Caswell, and also John's cousin, Ken Underwood. Erma was an Underwood as a maiden name. So they came to hear.
Okay, I'm Michael Walker. Hi. My parents moved to Coppell in 1971. They wanted a place a little bit rural. They had been living in Houston as newlyweds. And they found a rental farmhouse on Sandy Lake Road that was owned by Joe Edie, which was just a little further west from Erma. And they rented the place there from 71 until they built a house on Moore Road in 79. And when they moved in 71, Erma's husband, Arthur, had just passed away, I think either recently that year or maybe the year before. And her son had already left the house, and my mom and her became friends. And I was born in 73, and Erma hadn't had a grandson yet, and I became the first grandson. So everything was always signed, love Grandma Erma, and everything. I didn't call her that, but that's how she wanted to be known. I guess about the house itself, we would visit Erma quite often, and she was there for every birthday, every big celebration, Christmases and everything. She was so much fun and always just smiles and full of love and laughter, and just a wonderful, wonderful lady. When we go visit, we lived right to the west of her on Sandy Lake Road, and there was just an empty lot in between the two houses. And we just cut across the yards, and she had about a 6-foot chain link fence all the way around her house, and a gate with the doorbell on it. She had a dog named Saxon for many years, and he was an outside dog, and her guard dog, and her best friend. And you'd ring the doorbell, and he would jump up on the front porch and start wagging his tail, standing next to the door, anticipating her to come out. He didn't care about us. He wanted to go to the front door to see her, and he did that so often that there was an imprint on the screen door of his tail where it would hit it. But, you know, coming in, it was always just a bunch of kisses and hugs and a cloud of wind song. And I guess her father built the house for her in, I think, 26, and maybe 24. I remember Mr. Underwood. We would go see him. He was in a nursing home in Louisville for a while, I guess in the late 70s, early 80s. And we would see him on Sunday. We went to church over at St. Philip's, so it was on our way, so we'd either stop before or after coming back from church and visit with him. But just a really kind, sweet, good-natured, just very kind is how I remember him. And I guess, you know, to build a house for your daughter as a wedding present, you know, pretty something else. That's a gift.
Great.
Way to start out. There's two front doors in the house. I think what I kind of remember was that she said that they used to use the house also as a filling station. And there's two front doors in the house. The one on the right, which she used as her bedroom. Originally, they used as where people would walk in and buy things in like a store or shop or something, and they had a gas pump out in the front yard, and that's kind of like how they got their start.
So how long was that store open? Or what
I
were the
don't
times?
remember. I would imagine it was in the 30s
Oh,
that it was open. Yeah, because she talked about during the Depression that the different programs that the WPA and the CCC did, like Grapevine Springs Park, and when they built that didn't have extension from Louisville in the 30s, that they would go and they would sell them sandwiches and lunch and different things. And that was another way they would walk there, they say, to go sell them this. Yeah.
It was in the same location we picked it up from.
Pardon me?
The same location where it always was. I mean, on the corner.
On the house, yes, it was always there at that location. Yes, I guess probably it was that corner lot would have been
Lot
Joe's
is
originally, so they probably bought the lot. I would imagine from Joe Eby. And the house itself, when you walked in, Mom remembers going into the right door, and we probably did that when I was younger and can't remember. But it seems like later on, she had everybody coming through the door that was originally the shop or the store, and that was her front bedroom. And she had her bed was up against the right wall, and then she used that as a closet and everything. But it was basically a cut through into the left room in the front, which was her formal dining room as she used it when we were around. Formal living room. And she had her piano in there. And she played the piano for years for the Methodist Church here in Coppell. And if y'all remember, it used to be right on that corner over there. It was a little white framed church. And she played the piano there, and then until they moved into their new location over there on Hertz Road. And after they moved over there, Coppell got a mission here for a Catholic church, which was St. Anne at the time. 40 families got together, my mom being one of them. And they brought the mission to Coppell, and for space, they rented the old Methodist church. And that's where we had Mass for several years. And during that time, there was nobody to play music or anything. And I had been taking piano lessons, and my dad played the guitar. And so we would do the music during the Mass. So I wound up playing the keyboards at the same church she played the piano in for years. So it was kind of interesting. We talked about it a lot in music. And one of my favorite things for her to play was How Great Thou Art. Being raised Catholic is something you never heard, so it was a treat. But that was in a formal living room, and we spent a lot of time in that room. Sit on the bench next to her when she would play. Always sit on the bench next to her, and as you go through the doors were always open from the living room and then the next room into the dining room. And that was her formal dining room. And what I can remember, it was a long, thin dining room table. It was, the room was never used. We never used the room. It was a walk-through. So you always walked around the dining room table. But it was very pretty, always a nice big bowl of fig fruit on it. And then I guess they built the addition on the back of the house sometime in the 60s is when I would imagine it was done, before Arthur died. And then she used that house from then on where she would entertain, and her kitchen was back there, and then that's where you went and sat and visited and everything. And it had windows that overlooked the backyard where she had a nice big garden for a while, and big pecan tree, and we would sit out there and everything. One thing I remember about her tree, she was very meticulous and always had it done every year, but she would have them whitewashed halfway up. And so it was always a fresh coat on in the spring and whitewash.
Is that for bugs?
I think so,
Okay.
yeah.
And that was, didn't really work.
I don't think so. I guess you could see them when they were climbing up.
And the first, before she had that add-on, where was the kitchen before
The
the add-on?
kitchen would have been in the room on the right.
On the right, that
Yeah,
back
because
room.
that's where the original back door would have been,
Yeah.
which is where you can see it now. But that doorway was actually, later on was the hallway that went back with an addition of a bathroom.
So the door there now was the back door before the addition.
I think so. I'm not sure, but that's the only thing that I can probably figure out.
You said the room in the back right was the kitchen?
I think so. I think that's what she used. I don't know for sure. Maybe
That's
probably
why it
better.
That's why it had linoleum on it.
Her sister.
Her sister's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you,
Which room would have been the kitchen?
Well, I don't remember where the kitchen was, but the first room, as you walked in from the porch, that was her guest bedroom. Then the next room over was her bedroom, because she had all those windows.
Oh.
And you were talking about the dog. Well, that dog, every time anybody walked down that road, and he would go over and nudge Erma, not bark, but nudge her and make sure that whoever that was wasn't coming in the house. Because he was so protective of her. We even she even had to tell him it was all right if we came in the house. Because he was very, very protective. Then after all died, that's when they had the fence built around. And so, that was something else, but her piano was in the front living room area. And I don't remember where the big dining room, I guess that next room, right off of the living room was the dining area. Because she had so many people that she cooked for, it was unreal. You think he was going to a hotel. So I'll quit talking, you go ahead with your story. You're younger, you can remember.
Oh, gosh. I was glad I had some notice. I was just jogging in memory. She worked in Grapevine by the time that we'd known her in the 70s and the 80s. And, she worked for an eye doctor there. And Mr. Wilson said that he was actually his eye doctor. So he would see her, and he said he's got some stories on her.
Erma was a case.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to call her a case. She was the receptionist, nurse, something, the only one in the office with this eye doctor that I went to for over 50 years. And Dr. Chandler was a little bit mercenary. He was a very good doctor, but a little bit mercenary. And he would come out and dictate a test that he thought somebody would have. And when he would leave, she would go. We still had the test, but.
Erma was very proud of her house. It was always just kept just perfect. Everything was in place, always expecting company. The doorbell would ring, and in the beginning it didn't take her long to get to the front door, but as time went on, she wound up having really bad arthritis, and sometimes she'd have to wait to the gate, a good 5 minutes, for her to get from the back of the house where she sat to get to the front. So visits would become less frequent because you knew how much work it was for her to get up and go and answer the door and then come out and unlock the gate. If you called her ahead of time, she'd make sure that the gate was unlocked and for you to come in, and that worked out well. But there was a chest of drawers that was right next to the entryway into the front bedroom. And as I grew taller, I saw that that's where she kept her lipstick. Because it was every single time that you go over there, you come home just covered in big red smooch marks. So she always had bright red lipstick, and after her hair started turning a little bit gray, I think she started coloring it, and it was always jet black. Always coiffed very nicely, and so yeah, she'd make sure she had her arsenal out before he got there.
Do you have pictures of her? Or
Yes, I do.
Do we have that picture?
Yes, definitely.
I told them that I will scan some of them.
Yeah, she was there for every birthday and everything, so I brought pictures of her, you know, most of them, all the interior front. We never took pictures inside of Erma's house because it was just going next door. But she would come over for birthdays and stuff, so there were pictures in our house that we rented next to hers. Like I said, there was just a little bitty lot in between the two places, and we could either cut through the back gate and get to her house, or we'd go through the front gate. But it was on Joe Eby's farm that surrounded her property as an L. Like I said, I would imagine that corner on Hertz and Sandy Lake, he probably sold to her because he owned the rest of it. And he had a barn there that was behind both of our houses, and livestock, horses, cows, different things, all of his implements. I think it was a big chicken operation in the 40s. And there was some kind of publication on that, the Elk Fork.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that they wrote about it quite a bit in there. But
There's a picture of it. We have a picture of the chicken.
oh, the chicken. Let's see, I wrote a couple things here.
So when did she pass away, Michael?
I don't know, remember what year it was. It would have been,
84, I imagine.
no, it was after
No, it's after.
2000.
It was after
Oh, really?
84, because I met her in 89 or 90.
Yeah, it was after 2000. I have letters from her that she sent me after she had moved to Cherokee Village, Arkansas from the early 2000s, after the Carricks bought the house. And I found one last night, and she had mentioned the house, and I was going to bring it today. But anyways, I'm going to scan it and send it to you. But basically, it's inside of the letter. She's talking about her teeth and wanting a steak and complaining about her fuel bill there. I guess she was in the mountains in Arkansas, and it's $100 for a fuel bill, and seeing snow like she had never seen before. Amazed by that. But she said that they had that things change in Coppell every day. She kept up with the house after she left and said that her house had been totally redone. She goes inside and out. She goes, but it's pretty. So it's probably hard for somebody after having something for so long and seeing any change done by somebody else, you know, whether, you know, just paint color. And like I said, I can't remember if she had the roof put on green before she sold it, or the Carricks did after they bought it. But it was always a dark black shingle that was on it. There's pictures of it that are in there.
Are one of these little boys?
That's me. I'm the older one, and my brother is 22 months younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Mike was 7 years old when we moved out of that house next door to Erma.
Yeah.
He's got a great memory, but he always visited her.
We moved a
Through the
whole
years.
mile away to Moore Road. So we weren't very far. Yeah, I always stayed, and then I started delivering papers, I think, when I was 10 or 11 for the then newspaper, the Coppell News Weekly. And then Gene started the paper in '84, and where we were on Sandy Lake Road and Moore, in that area, and further east on Sandy Lake and west until, I guess, the DeBecca's house, we were Coppell city of Coppell, but we had Carrollton addresses. And so the newspapers could not get delivered for the same bulk rate as the Coppell residents. So they needed somebody to throw the paper to that route. And so it was probably about 30, 40, 50 houses. I think we rolled 50 papers every week. But when Jean started her paper, she needed somebody to throw for that as well. And my brother Nathan always followed me on his bike anyways. So she cornered us one day in front of Irma's house, actually, and got my brother to start throwing paper for the Advocate. So we threw papers both same time on Fridays for a year or two after that. But we would stop in and see everybody every week, you know, to get a Coke or, you know, shoot the breeze. So we stopped in on Irma quite a bit, you know, saw what was going on. And when I would come home on leave, I was in the Navy for a while, try to see her, stop, and different things. So we always kept in contact. We wrote letters back and forth. And we liked to talk about traveling. She did like to travel a little bit. I remember telling her that I was going to go to Niagara Falls, and she had been there and told me what to do and definitely get on the Maid of the Mist, and I did, and thanks to her. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it unless she had said to do it. So.
But you weren't related to her.
We're not related to her, no.
Michael,
Yes.
clear up. Her first name is I-R-M-A.
It's Erma, E-R-M-A.
E-R-M-A. You like to get things accurate.
Yeah, y'all call it the Ihnfledt house, but it was always Irma's house. It's Irma's house.
Did you ever meet her husband?
No, he passed away before I was born, just very recently before my parents met.
Well, we moved there in September of '72,
72.
and I believe he had passed away in January of that same year.
Just a month. So we kind of, and then
We filled,
a gap, yeah.
But she had a son that lived.
He was already
close?
grown, yeah.
Oh,
He
he was
he lived, I think, at the time in the Metroplex.
I
I
have
can't
no
remember.
idea where he was at.
Is he still living?
No,
No,
okay.
yes.
Really?
He recently passed away
Oh.
earlier this year.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
How old was he?
Let's see.
False.
In his 80s.
Yeah,
Was
he
in his
was-
80s?
Wow.
I think I was 12.
And then he had two children,
Oh.
our cousins,
Right.
Casey and
Where are they?
Karen Sue. They're in Arkansas.
I met them when they were little.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I remember Miss Erma because I'm a member of the Methodist Church, and Judy remembers her, I'm sure, much better than I do. And my daughter was in youth group in 88, 89, 90, and she did not attend because I guess, as you mentioned, her arthritis.
Yes.
So my daughter was given one night to go over there and visit her and took her some things, and so that's how I met Miss Erma. Knew where the house was and the fence.
Yeah, yeah.
Before they widened the road.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was just a little road, but
Yeah.
Yes,
forever.
Sandy
It's
Lake
two
was
lanes.
a two-lane blacktop with big ditches on each side of it.
And I said, where does she live? It's right below the bathtub.
Right below the path.
There's a bathtub there, Mr. Hitchcock's moving company.
Oh,
It was called the bathtub.
Well, no, he had a
They had
bathtub
a
out
bathtub
front.
out there, didn't
In his front yard?
Yeah. It was a great, landmark. Which side of the bathtub do you live on?
I can't remember that.
You don't remember the bathtub?
No, I remember his dogs
When did they, what year
That's why you were in the Navy.
was the addition added?
I would imagine it was done probably in the 60s.
60s.
Yeah, yeah. From the style of what it looked like, it was light wood, paneling and everything. Yeah, in linoleum in there. It was a nice great room is what it was. It worked out very well. Windows, see out and everything.
Now, did she have an indoor restroom? when
Yes.
it was just in the early days?
In the early days, I doubt it.
I doubt
So it was added on in the 60s with the addition?
I don't know when it was added on, whether or not that they had something like that in her, what she said, her bedroom kitchen. She never talked about that, so.
She was saying that it was when they added on.
That's when you got the bathroom?
Bathroom in.
Okay. So
You got the
before then it was
outhouse.
probably
You never
outhouse.
used the outhouse?
No, I have used an outhouse. But my mom was raised on a farm in Kansas, so I know outhouses.
I've been watching.
They're awful.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So now there's,
I was gonna think, I remember her telling me, when Sandy Lake Road was improved in the, I guess, 80s, the first time it was improved, before they built it as a boulevard, they widened it and the construction had to stop when it got to her house because the gas tanks were still buried in her front yard.
Yes. Had probably had the
They
EPA
had
out
some
to
in
check
there,
it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
they had to dig those gas tanks out before they could continue construction.
But they just ran the store during the Depression, is that?
Yeah, I think so. And then I don't remember what she said that he did for a living after that.
Arthur didn't live, they didn't run the station.
They didn't.
No. No, they just bought the house from those people. I don't know who it was that lived there.
Did y'all not say earlier that the gas station was off to the side, or was it,
It's where they had the garage,
oh, it was a garage over
they
there?
had a house.
She had a detached garage right to the,
Yes.
to the,
Now, they
east
did
of her.
not live
It
there.
was between lodge and house.
When they,
yeah,
Okay.
and then when they made it a lodge wider.
yeah, they got rid
They
of
got
it,
rid of
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's a one car pool.
Yeah, she kept her riding lawnmower in there, and she always had a Chevy Impala. She traded in, get a brand new blue, baby blue Chevy Impala.
Every year.
Every couple of years, it was always a new car.
That's great.
That's what they did in the sixties, as I recall.
Kept them from breaking down on you.
So she must have worked outside the home then, huh?
Yeah, she worked for the eye doctor in Grapevine.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After her husband died and before he died. All the way through.
I don't remember, I don't know what she did before we got there, but she always
She
went
was
to work.
always working.
She was always at
when we
work.
met her.
She's always worked during the week, and then it was church on Sunday. We would see her in the evenings or on Saturday usually.
Who did you say built the house, or do you know?
She said it was a gift from her dad.
no,
No?
no.
Okay.
I don't know who it was that owned that house that they bought it from, but those people had the service station. But, Erma and Arthur never did run the service station.
They did not.
No. No.
Okay. Do you remember who they bought it from, or?
No, that's what I was telling
Okay.
her, I don't remember that.
Do you remember the year maybe, or around when, because I thought it was really young for her to have moved in that house in 26.
Well, Erma and Arthur married in 1933,
Okay,
and then it was sometime several years later that they bought that house.
okay.
Because they lived on Mr. Ihnfeldt's house, you know where the, road turned, they had a farm about a mile off, it was fenced in. And
Where
that's
Sandy
they-
Lake turns,
Yes,
up there at the slip?
to the south.
Okay, past
then-
Fleets?
Yes,
Okay.
and I know one time Arthur was out looking for, turkey eggs and turkeys, and, he saw Bonnie and Clyde had camped out on that property.
yeah.
So he turned and ran real quick back to the house.
Smart man.
They were in Grapevine, yeah.
What?
So do you know when the house was actually built then?
No, I don't.
Do we know?
1934 is what we.
So they didn't move there till the 1933 or something like that?
After 33, it'd be about 34 or 5, somewhere along there, that they bought the house.
Interesting.
And kind of in relation to that, I got an old 1942 aerial that showed.
A 1940s map?
Yeah,
Or-
aerial picture.
Uh-huh.
And that was only structure there on the corner of Lodge and
Yes.
Edie wasn't even there at the time, I don't think.
Is that right?
There wasn't, his house wasn't there anyway.
Okay.
And it did show up on a 1958 area with all his chicken farms.
Chicken farm and everything in their
So-
limestone house.
I'm thinking maybe Edie bought the land off the Ihnfeldts, maybe.
Maybe.
Can you look on the
That might
tax
be.
rolls and find
Yeah,
out?
you probably could, I just never have done it.
Where they just kept that one corner and sold
It
the
could
rest
be,
to him.
it could be.
Okay, that would, yeah.
It just seems unfathomable that a filling station would be in the middle of town, of the residential area, which it is now.
That wasn't.
It wasn't a
I know
residential
that,
area.
I know that.
It was farm
But it's hard to
country.
picture, it's
It
hard to
was a
picture.
farm, it was
And
farm
that was kind of a
country.
main road too.
That was
so-
the main road. There was, yeah, there was Sandy Lake and Denton Tap. And, I think the corner of Sandy Lake and Denton Tap was nothing but beer joints and honky tonks.
That's what I heard.
There on the corner.
Yeah.
And after somebody bought that land and then had a pig farm there for.
Otters.
years.
Oh,
We used to go there.
Very potty.
So Michael,
Sure smells.
for historical purposes, we've heard that Irma during the Depression sold sandwiches
Yes.
out of the house.
no, not out of the house.
She
They would,
took 'em out.
she took them out. Yeah. Yeah.
Where?
To Denton Tap Road when they were building it from Louisville. I guess it was always a dirt road and they paved it in the 30s.
She sold to lovers.
Yeah,
To the
sold to
workers
the
that were
workers,
working on that,
yes. And then also they take them over to Grapevine Springs Park when they were building that
I know,
and
we
doing all
need to
that.
get some-
Those are the two projects that she talked about that they were
I
doing
can't
here in
see
town. Which has always brought a big influx of out-of-town people and extra money to.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. We certainly enjoyed having you come and talk about Irma and give us a sense of what the house was like when you remembered it and all, so thank you.
Correcting some of our impressions
Yeah.
that we had.
And spelling.
Always, when I found out that it was gonna be, that the Historical Society was gonna get it, that it wasn't gonna be torn down, because Mom called me and was like, you gotta come and see it for the last time, we got a week, you know, and figure out what day, and then she called and said that she had talked to Jean and they were gonna save the house and it was gonna be moved here. I just cried. I couldn't believe it. It was just like, so many memories, and they're all just good, happy, smiling, laughing memories, and love, and just, it's just wonderful that the house is gonna be there. And it's funny now, you know, it's like Mom and I talking, let's go to Irma's house. Shoot, still could do.
Maybe we should give you your own key.
I know where it's at.
Maybe you should help us decorate it and furnish it and everything. That would be
Well,
nice.
again, thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
with us, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.